Noon. It is now 5 p.m. and we will begin our Committee of Adjustment meeting. We will be dealing with each application in the order of the agenda. This is a virtual public meeting and we ask for everyone's patience. I would also like to note that this is a statutory public meeting. The committee will make their decision following each application. Anyone interested in the decision must notify the Secretary Treasurer, Sherry Mott. Please list the file number and your full name and mailing address. The decisions are final if there are no appeals 20 days after the committee's decision. Anyone wishing to speak regarding an application will be given an opportunity to do so. I will ask that any member of the public that wishes to speak, please state your name for the record. Also, please state the application number and/or the property address that you are commenting on. I will let you know when it's time for you to speak, and you will unmute by hitting star 67 on your phone. I would also like to remind everyone to remain muted unless you are speaking. Planning staff will...
Dave Bro.
Who's that? Okay. Planning staff will be presenting reports and will be present to answer any questions of the committee members or members of the public. And just a reminder, you star 67 to mute and to unmute. Okay, I'm going to start with a roll call of the committee to make sure we're all present. I'll start it with Adam Very. Please say if you're online. Okay, we don't have Adam. Alan.
Yep, present.
Okay. Lisa.
Present.
Marcel.
Present.
And Rudy.
Present.
Thank you. The first order of business is to determine if any of the committee members have any disclosures of interest when considering any of the applications we will be dealing with today. And I'll just run through everyone again and let me know if you have any disclosures of interest. So starting with, I'm going to try Adam again. Okay, Alan?
I'm good.
Lisa?
Nope.
Marcel?
No.
And Rudy?
No.
Okay, so we have no disclosures of interest. All the committee members should have received and read the minutes of the July 15th meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? Okay, I don't have anyone speaking, so if not, I have a resolution before me to approve the minutes. Could I have someone move that resolution?
Rudy.
Okay, thank you, Rudy. And a seconder?
Alan?
Thank you, Alan. All in favor? I'll just go through the line. Adam?
Yes.
Thank you. Alan?
Yes?
Lisa?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay. The minutes have been approved for the July 15th meeting. Okay. The first application that we're dealing with is file number BNPL 2020072. The applicant is Van Meer Farms, Inc., and it's for a severance. And I will ask planning staff to give their report.
Thank you. An application has been received to sever a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. The proposed lot will have a frontage of 32 meters, a depth of 66 meters, and an area of 1,112 square meters. The retained lands will have a frontage of 604 meters and a lot area of 40 hectares. The subject lands are zoned agricultural and are located on the 6th Concession Road in the geographical township of Houghton. The severed lands contain a single detached dwelling and an existing carport, which is proposed to be removed. The retained lands contain an existing barn to the immediate south of the proposed lot. The proposed lot is surrounded by other active farms with a single rural residential lot of similar lot area and dimensions directly south of the subject lands. Comments have been consolidated in the staff report from departments. No concerns were raised. The subject application is consistent with the PPS, conforms to the Norfolk's surplus farm severance policies of the official plan, and complies with Norfolk's zoning bylaw for suitable lot creation within the agricultural zone. Planning staff support this application and recommend it be approved subject to the attached conditions.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, I have no questions. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay, is the applicant or agent on the line with any additional information to add?
Here, no.
Okay. Okay, we have a recommendation for approval, and I will ask someone to make a motion to move that recommendation.
Lisa?
Okay, I've got Lisa, a seconder.
Marcel.
Okay, Marcel. An application has been received to sever a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. The proposed lot will have a frontage of 32 meters and an area of 0.5 hectares. The retained land has a frontage of 604 meters and an area of 40 hectares. The subject application is consistent with related policies of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020 and the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding surplus farm dwellings and severances. And no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan? Alan? Lisa?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, this application has been approved. The next application is file number BNPL 2020-076. The applicant is Van Meer Farms, Inc., and that is also for a severance. And planning staff will give the report.
Thank you. An application has been received to sever a dwelling made surplus through farm consolidation. The proposed lot will have a frontage of 35.1 meters and an area of 4,042.2 square meters. The retained lands will have a frontage of 426.5 meters and an area of approximately 47 hectares. The subject lands are zoned agricultural and front onto the north side of Middleton North Welsingham Town Line Road in the geographical township of Middleton. The severed lot contains an existing dwelling and attached garage. The retained lot has a concentration of structures surrounding the severed lot. The structures of the retained lot consist of an existing dry barn, a concrete pad for kilns, accessory storage structures, and a greenhouse. The proposed lot is surrounded by active agricultural farms with a small cluster of 2 residential lots of similar lot area and density south along Middleton North Welsingham Road, Town Line Road. Comments have been consolidated from the staff report and no departments have any concerns raised. It's staff opinion that the subject application is consistent with the PPS, conforms to the Norfolk surplus farm severance policies of the official plan, and complies with Norfolk zoning bylaw for suitable lot creation within the agricultural zone. Therefore, staff support this application and recommend it be approved subject to the attached conditions.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, and any member of the public wishing to speak regarding this application? And any additional information from the agent? Okay, we have a recommendation for approval. Could I have someone move that recommendation?
Alan moves that.
Sorry, who was that? Alan?
Sure, yep.
Okay. Seconder?
Adam?
Rudy.
Rudy, okay, thank you. The subject application is consistent with the related policies of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020 and the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding surplus farm dwellings, severances, and no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, that application is approved. The next application is file number BNPL 2020-077. That's for severance, and the applicant is Van Meer Farms, Inc., and I will ask planning staff to give the report.
Thank you. An application has been received to sever a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. The proposed lot would have a frontage of 17 meters and a lot area of 4,714.7 square meters. The retained land would have a frontage of 386.177 meters and an area of 36.7 hectares. The existing lands in whole are 92 acres, and they're located on the south side of Middleton, North Walsingham Town Line in the geographical township of Middleton. The application was circulated to commenting and internal agencies, and there were no comments of note. The retained currently includes 3 accessory dwellings, while the severed includes the existing residential dwelling and services. I would like to note that there would be a minor amendment, if amenable to the committee. Later through the application process, there was a slight adjustment made to the application, which would change the proposal to include a lot area of 4,710.6 square meters. It would be reflected in the site features of the report, which is reflected into the equivalent of 1.16 acres instead of 1.17. And that is to reflect a minor change. If you could go to the second page. A minor change in the kind of the corner of the existing shed of 2.54, I believe, is now 3 meters, as the applicant requested. I would notice there are 3 conditions of note. One for a minor variance to address the existing or proposed frontage, the removal of the existing greenhouse, which is indicated in the map as shown, which is just behind the existing dwelling, and the removal of hydro lines adjoining the barn and on the retained to the severed dwelling.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding the application? And does the agent have any additional information to add? Okay, and I just have, I'm just curious, quite often we see the minor variance and the severance come together. So just asking maybe the agent, like, why the minor
yeah.
variance is coming after?
Made together. So I gathering that it's actually going to come to the next meeting. It's just a matter of there had been minor change made in the on the sketch, which reduced the need for one of the variances. So it'll be coming to, as I understand, to the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a recommendation for approval, and I would like someone to move that recommendation.
Adam?
Okay, I got Adam. A seconder?
Lisa?
Thank you, Lisa. The subject, the subject application is consistent with related policies of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020 and the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding surplus farm dwelling severances. And no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. So we are approving the application as amended. And I'll ask for committee to approve. Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay. That application is approved as amended. Okay, the next application is file number BNPL 2020-078, and the applicant is Van Meer Farms, Inc. And I will ask planning staff to give the report.
An application has been received to sever a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. The proposed lot would have a frontage of 13.8 meters and a lot area of 3,286 square meters. The retained land will have a frontage of 291.89 meters and an area of 27.5 hectares. This property is also subject to a minor variance application, ANPL 2020-158. The existing lot is 69 acres and is on the south side of Middleton, North Walsingham, and town line in the geographical township of Middleton. The retained currently contains a existing barn, and the severed is proposed with the dwelling, a shop, and greenhouse, although at the time of site visit, staff did not see a greenhouse during the site visit. The application is considered consistent by staff with the policies of the PPS and considered to be to conform with the official plan. And that's it.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, no questions. Any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? Okay, and any additional information from the agent? Okay, we have a recommendation for approval. Could I have someone move that recommendation?
Lisa?
Okay, I've got Lisa, thank you. And a seconder?
Alan?
Thank you, Alan. The subject application is consistent with related policies of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020 and the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding surplus farm dwelling severances. And no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor? Adam? Okay, Adam? Alan?
Yes. Adam, yes.
Okay.
Alan, yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, that application has been approved. Okay, our next application is file number BNPL 2020-089. The applicant is William R. Kennedy, and this is for severance, and I will ask planning staff to give their report.
An application has been received to sever a dwelling made surplus through farm amalgamation. The proposed lot will have a frontage of 60.37 meters and an area of 3,298 square meters. The retained lot will now have a frontage of 489 meters and an area of 45.7 hectares. The existing lands are 113.2 acres on the south side of Middleton, North Walsingham town line, and the geographical township of Middleton. The retained has 2 existing barns and a greenhouse, and the severed is proposed to have just the existing dwelling. There's one condition of note, the removal of existing hydro lines. The application is considered consistent with the PPS and conforms to the OP's farm amalgamation policies.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff?
I have one question, Madam Chairman, for clarification. It's Rudy. Site features and land use, is this really in Middleton, North Walsingham, or in Wyndham?
You are correct, that is my error. It's in Wyndham on Road 6.
That's what I thought, because I know the description says site features and land use are in Middleton, North Walsingham.
Yes,
Right.
that is an error on my part. My apologies.
Thank you. Any other questions for staff? And is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? You can star 67 to unmute now. Okay. And any additional information from the applicant or agent? Okay, we have a recommendation for approval, and I will ask someone to move that recommendation.
Rudy,
Thank you, Rudy. Seconder?
Marcel.
Thank you, Marcel. Okay, the subject application is consistent with related policies of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020 and the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding surplus farm dwelling severances, and no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor of approval? Adam?
Pretty sure he said yes.
Okay. Alan?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
yes.
Okay, we've approved that application. Thank you. Next application is file number BNPL 2020-098. The applicant is Joseph and Mercedes Carastiri. And that's for severance, and I will ask planning staff to give a report.
Thank you. An application has been received to sever a dwelling made surplus through farm consolidation. The proposed lot will have a frontage of 30 meters and an area of approximately 2,598 square meters. The retained lands will have a frontage of 765 meters and an area of 30 hectares. It should be noted that the applicant has submitted an additional severance application, BNPL 2020-0099, for the neighboring dwelling at 3213 Highway 3. This is to recognize a second dwelling made surplus through farm consolidation. In terms of the subject property, it's zoned agricultural, and is on the north side of Highway 3 in the geographical township of Wyndham. The retained lot contains multiple existing dry barns, an accessory storage structure for agricultural uses. The severed lot contains an existing dwelling, a detached garage, and a mobile home that will be removed as per the site plan submitted. Lastly, the proposed lot is surrounded by other active agricultural operations with 2 rural residential dwellings of similar density and lot size east of the proposed. Thank you. To add to that, want to make sure to highlight some comments provided. Comments have been consolidated through the staff report. There are no concerns raised. Staff would like to highlight one item, which is the addition of a request for a easement for shared access. This was provided by the applicant if it was desired from the MTO. So I would like to reiterate that the severed and the retained lands do have frontage and access onto Highway 3, and that's in the MTO's jurisdiction. The MTO had been circulated on the subject application, and their approval of an entrance permit is a condition of this severance. At this time, staff are not in support of right-of-way easement for a shared driveway of BNPL 2020-99 until MTO provides commenting. Currently, there's a separate entrance for both 3211 and 3213 off of Highway 3, and it's staff preference that these separate entrances be maintained. Therefore, staff are requiring a separate entrance for the subject severed lands and the retained lands. With that in mind, considering the application as a whole with respect to the severance of a dwelling made surplus through farm consolidation, it's staff's opinion that it is consistent with the PPS, conforms to the Norfolk surplus farm severance policies in the official plan, complies to Norfolk zoning bylaw for suitable lot creation, and complies with Norfolk zoning bylaw for suitable lot creation within the agricultural zone.
Okay. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, and is there any member of the public that wishes to speak? You can unmute now. Okay, and with regards to the application, I just have a question for the agent. And I noticed that MTO did not provide any comments on the application. Have you talked to them at all with regards to the entrance?
Yeah.
And they're
I
supportive?
didn't hear. Yeah, the bigger, I guess, the issue is if MTO requires a shared driveway, then that's something that we'll have to do. We would prefer to maintain separate driveways, but my recent experience with MTO in Elgin County is that they've been asking for these shared entrances. But since we don't have a response from MTO at this point, I wanted to leave the door open that if we had to go to a shared entrance, then we would be able to do that. Although we will still prefer the separate entrances if, in fact, MTO will let us do that. Just going to leave it that way.
So I have a question for staff as well. Is that, are we required to make that a condition of the severance, that MTO approves it? Because they do currently have their own entrances. So I would like to approve it without that condition, without MTO. They had an opportunity to comment and they didn't. So I would like to not make that a condition.
That would be a decision for the committee to make. I would like to highlight that development engineering did provide comments. It wasn't a condition, but their comment is all entrances are subject to MTO approval. It wouldn't necessarily be, it could be struck that it is a condition for MTO approval, but it would be engineering and staff's preference that MTO approval was granted. That said, if comments do come back from the MTO that a shared entrance is preferred, staff would of course have a conversation with the applicant to discuss that, the renewed application for an easement.
Okay, and just with regards to the development engineering comments that you mentioned, because they're not applying for any new entrances, then I don't see the need to make MTO a condition. So.
Yeah, I would actually prefer just to deal directly with MTO and not have the county part of it. We're going to do whatever they make us do anyway, because that's how they do business. So.
Madam Chairman, I agree with you. I don't think that should be a condition. Marcel.
Okay,
I have a question for Dave, for the agent.
Yeah.
Would you prefer that the condition be left in, Dave?
No, actually, I don't. I'd prefer to have it removed because we'll have to get a permit from MTO, and if they make us have the shared driveway or shared access, then we'll do that. Otherwise, our preference is just to maintain it the way it is. But regardless, we're going to have to do whatever MTO tells us. And if it's not part of the decision, well, that's something between us and MTO, which would be fine with me.
Okay, I just want to make sure that the applicant doesn't have to come back to the county to reapply at further fees for something that the MTO have seemed to have dragged their feet on.
Yeah, I would like to see the decision just reflect that the proposed right-of-way as we submitted on the application, we could even put it in if required, and then we're covered either way, and I prefer that actually.
Okay, Linda, can we make that kind of an amendment to this application then? Like, does that serve your goal too?
Yeah, I just have one more question for the agent. You mentioned you need a permit from MTO, but I don't understand what the permit is for. If we're removing this condition and the entrances are all already existing, why would you need a permit?
Well, MTO takes a position that every time there's a change of ownership, in theory, everybody's supposed to get a new entrance permit. I don't think many people do, but that's supposedly is their condition. But I would prefer just to, if we have the ability to have the shared driveway, then so be it. If not, we don't need to use that condition, then we'll just go with the existing driveway. MTO makes a lot of their own rules. They may, in fact, even require 1-foot reserves across the frontage, in which case we'll do that for them if that's what they wish. So I've been through something very similar to this with an application in Elgin, which we just finalized and got all the conditions answered. So I prefer to just leave it between ourselves and MTO.
Okay, thank you, Dave. So I'm going to then suggest then we have a recommendation for approval, and I'm going to add with the proposal that with the removal of condition number 5, which is the approval from MTO. So for the committee members, we will be recommending approval with the removal, I'm just writing this out, the removal of condition number 5. Okay, which is MTO approval. So with that in mind, could I have someone move that recommendation?
So yeah, I will move that as amended.
Okay, that was
I
Alan.
second it. I'll second that.
And seconder was Marcel?
Myself.
Okay, thank you. The subject application is consistent with related policies of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020 and the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding surplus farm dwelling severances, and no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor of approval? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Lisa?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, we've approved that application. Okay, the next application is file number BNPL 2020-099. Applicant is Joseph and Mercedes Karakisturi. And, okay, the reports were presented both together. So this is the other lot in that severance that we just discussed. And planning staff are recommending approval. And based on our previous discussion, I'm going to ask that, again, we approve with the removal of condition number 5. So I'm just adding that. Okay, can I have someone move that?
Lisa?
Okay, I've got Lisa and a seconder,
Alan?
Rudy,
Rudy. Okay. All in favor of approval? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Lisa?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy.
yes.
Okay, that's approved. Okay, the next application is file number BNPL 2020-064. The applicant is Bradley and Judith Rueg. And I will ask staff to give the report.
Thank you. An application has been received to sever a lot for residential purposes. The proposed lot will have a frontage of 29.1 meters and a lot area of 1,388 square meters. The retained land will have a frontage of 13.4 meters and an area of 0.19 hectares. This property is also subject to a minor variance application, ANPL 2020-156. The subject lands are zoned Hamlet Commercial as well as Hamlet Residential and are collectively are 3,157 square meters in area. The lot is of a regular shape because it's made up of 2 previously existing lots with approximately a frontage of 42.7 meters on the east side of Main Street in the hamlet of Walsingham. There's just one notable condition proposed by staff, a minor variance to address the setbacks created by the small lots. Planning staff consider the application to be consistent with the policies of the PPS and to conform with the official plan, and staff support the application.
Okay, does the committee have any questions of staff?
Yeah, you mentioned a variance application. Is it not in tonight's meeting?
Through the chair, yes, it is coming to the next meeting.
Okay, any other questions for staff? Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? And is there an applicant or agent online with any additional information they would like to add?
No additional information.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a recommendation for approval. Could I have someone move that recommendation?
Adam?
Thank you, Adam.
Yep.
Seconder?
Alan?
Thank you, Alan. The application is consistent with the Provincial Policy Statement 2020 and conforms to the consent policies of the Norfolk County Official Plan, and no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor of approval? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, that application has been approved.
Thank you.
Okay, the next application is ANPL 2020-090 for a minor variance. The applicant is Brad and Cheryl DePorter, and I will ask planning staff to give their report.
Thank you. Before I dive into the report, I wanted to address 2 clerical errors. The first on the application, ANPL 2020-090, with respect to the addressing of the subject lands. So Plan 288, Lot 1, so that's 526D Radical Road, is the subject lands. Lot 10, 528A Radical Road is the current address of where the applicant resides at, which is across the street from the subject lands. The second thing, staff would like to highlight that the variance in question is in respect to an extension of 5.7 meters, not 5 meters. Due to the irregular shape of the building footprint, the extension of the building envelope will be 5.7. This was provided in the sketch. The 5-meter extension on the public notice and the report you're seeing today is a clerical error made by staff. The correction, so that 5.7 was recirculated to internal staff and the LPRCA, who have no concern with the new variance and still support the application, provided only the septic bed and leaching bed is located within the extension.
Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff?
Yes, Madam Chairman, it's come to my attention that there's maybe a water issue on that property or adjacent property. Does planning staff know about that?
Through you, Madam Chair, would you like to elaborate on what that is?
Apparently in the spring when there's a heavy rainfall, the water builds up right next to that property. And I was wondering if they would be able to address that water flow, if there's a drain that has to be put or a tile put before the septic tank is put in or the septic bed is put in. Is there any discussion about that?
Through you, Madam Chair, Development Engineering has commented, and they're requiring a lot grading plan be provided at the time of the building permit. So before that septic system could go in, that lot grading plan would need to be provided. It's my interpretation, understanding that drainage on the lot with regard to water would be addressed that way, and if there needs to be remediation or mitigation, that would be addressed at that time.
Madam Chairman, would that be done prior to putting the tile bed in?
Through you, Madam Chair, if I may, yes, it would. That's a part of a building permit application, so the lot grading plan would be provided at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions for planning staff? Okay, and is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? You can star 67 to unmute now. Okay, and is the applicant or agent on the line with any additional information to provide to the committee?
Yeah, it's Brad DePorter. Just to clarify too, guys, real quick, there is a drain right beside the corner of the 528A Radical Road address that I currently live at, and that takes the water across and underneath down to the lake. So I'm not aware of any water issue problem that exists on this property that we're talking about here. There is water that does accumulate along the side of the Blake property, but like I said, there is a drain there that's been put in, and it does take the water out to the lake. My current property does not flood, and we don't have any problems with water. So, otherwise, I don't have any other comments.
Do any committee members have any questions for the applicant? Okay. We have a recommendation for approval, and I'll ask someone to move that recommendation with the amendment that the proposed extension to the building envelope is 5.7 meters.
Lisa?
Okay, thank you, Lisa. A seconder?
Adam?
Thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
Okay, and in accordance with Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the development and requested relief is considered appropriate development, minor in nature, and maintains the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, and no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor of approval? Adam?
Yes.
Alan,
Yes?
Lisa,
Yes.
Marcel,
Yes.
and Rudy.
Yes.
Okay, that application's approved. The next application is file number BNPL 2020-100. The applicant is Michelone Ginseng Inc., care of Jason Michelone. And it's for La Salette Road in La Salette and for a severance. And I will ask staff to give the report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. An application has been received to sever a vacant parcel of land to be added to the adjacent residential lot. The proposed severance will have a frontage of 81.79 meters and an area of 4,714 square meters. The retained land will have a frontage of 85.21 meters and an area of 18.9 hectares. The subject severance will be added to roll number 49, 10, 15, 23, 600. The final lot size will have a frontage of 135 meters and an area of 9,877 square meters. Planning staff are recommending that the application be deferred at this time to allow for the additional information provided by the applicant via email on August 5th, 2020, to be evaluated by planning staff prior to recommendation.
Okay, do the committee members have any questions for staff? And is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? You can star 67 to unmute now. It was my understanding that there may be someone wishing to speak regarding this application. If you're on the line, you can star 67 to unmute. Okay. Okay, is there an applicant or agent on the line? The agent Raymond Edwards, do we know? He's not. Okay. I have a question then for planning staff. With regards to the future use of the land that's being severed, it mentioned in the application a triple car garage and/or workshop. And no structures were being proposed at this time, but I'm just questioning, is the workshop that's proposed for business purposes, or do you have any idea about that?
Through you, Madam Chair, I am not aware of any commercial use at this time. It was not indicated in any way. So I can get that for further clarification upon deferral.
Okay. Well, the recommendation here before us is that this application be deferred. And so I will ask a committee member to move that recommendation.
Adam.
Okay, Adam, thank you. A seconder?
Rudy.
Thank you, Rudy. Okay, all in favor of deferral? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yep.
Lisa?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That application has been deferred. Okay, the next application is ANPL 2020-133. The applicant is Brad and Becky Fitch. And I'll ask staff to give the report.
Thank you. The applicant is requesting to construct an accessory garage which has a usable floor area greater than the permitted 200 square meter maximum. The applicant is requesting relief of this provision from the zoning bylaw to increase the allowable usable floor area for this structure to 446 square meters on the property to permit the proposed. The subject proposed is located south of Gilbertsville and east of Lindock, on the north side of Charlotteville West Quarter Line Road. The lands are currently vacant and are designated agricultural in Norfolk's official plan and zoned agricultural in the zoning bylaw. The property is surrounded by active farms to the north, south, and west, and 2 rural residential lots of similar lot area and building envelope to the immediate east. Comments have been summarized in planning staff's report and no concerns were raised. Development engineering did note that a lot grading and entrance permit with installation of entrance plan will be required at time of the building permit application. Since the time of the report was written, staff did receive 1 letter which was distributed to the committee for their review. It is staff's opinion that there is no adverse impact on the surrounding lands. The application is minor in nature, consistent with the PPS, conforms to the OP, and maintains the general intent of the zoning bylaw.
Okay, I don't believe all the committee members have received a copy of the correspondence, so I'm just going to read it. It's with regards to the size of the building. So our concern is the size of the building, how it is so close to the property line, the elevation of the building. We don't agree with the size of the building and its proximity to the property line, for which will kill our mature trees. We don't approve of the size of the building for which the applicant is applying for, because we feel it's too massive. And since the applicant property is zoned agricultural, there's too many uses for this building, and a lot of them are not safe, and that's a concern to us. We feel that the bylaws rules for what is allowed should be enforced. This massive barn will disrupt our lives and also our lot, so it's not welcome. Thank you for your time and consideration. And it's signed Abilio Silva. So, does the committee have any questions for staff? That's okay.
Through you, Madam Chair, Scott Wilson, planner with the county. I'd like to address that letter.
Okay.
If you had a second, and then if any committee members had any questions, either myself or the applicant can speak to them. So first and foremost, I wanted to thank the member of the public for providing that, and I'll do my best to address those concerns in this meeting. So I've broken down those concerns into 5 parts. So the first was the height of the building. Planning staff wants to clarify the height of the structure is less than the permitted maximum as per our zoning bylaw, so it is within right and is permitted. The other concern was with the building too close to the property line. The setbacks of the structure comply with Norfolk's zoning bylaw with respect to interior side yard requirements. Planning have no concerns with that. The concerns regarding the construction of the garage will damage the trees rooted on their property and the ones that overhang onto the subject lot. A discussion was had with the applicant, and they have indicated their wish to preserve the integrity of those trees to ensure privacy on both sides. Further, staff has spoken with a resource management technician from the Parks and Rec team, and they have highlighted that this matter with respect to the trees is ultimately a civil matter to be discussed between the applicant and the neighbors. With regard to the building may be used for unsafe agriculture-related practices, this is a rural agricultural lot, and the intent of the structure is to store seasonal maintenance equipment. It is staff's opinion that that is not a nuisance use as it is and is appropriate for a rural agricultural lot. A discussion with the property owner regarding the use of the structure did take place, and the owner is aware if the desire is to operate a commercial business from that location, that a planning application may be required. Lastly, and bear with me, that the building will disrupt the lives of the neighbor. I would like to speak to this. So staff want to address the size and the impact on the surrounding neighborhood. So planning staff evaluate the application based on the 4 tests of the minor variance set out by section 4.5.1 of the Planning Act. It's staff's opinion that this application does meet those 4 tests. The requirement is considered minor in nature and appropriate as a proposed accessory structure will act to complement the agricultural area by permitting an accessory garage, which will have a minimum impact on the surrounding properties due to natural buffers, location, and the setbacks. The accessory structure is located in the rear of the property, and whose use as a place to store equipment is similar to many of the existing accessory structures in the area. The size increase is to accommodate larger snow removal and lawn maintenance equipment. A site visit of the subject property concludes that there are 2 neighboring properties with residential uses in the surrounding area. The majority of the lands are active farmland, which the proposed will not impact. The accessory structure, it is staff's opinion, will have a minimum impact on the neighboring residential lots because of the natural tree canopy and vegetation buffer which separates the subject lands and the neighboring residential lot to the east. You can see in the bottom right corner image, that is the tree cover or the tree line between the subject lands, the bottom right corner, yeah, between the subject lands and the neighboring lot. So there is quite a bit of density, and then the top 2 images is the farm field, or actually is the lot with a farm field in behind, so it is backing onto a farm property. Further, the intent of the structure is to store equipment, and that in and of itself is passive in nature and not anticipated to have an impact on the surrounding area. Therefore, it's staff's opinion that there will be no adverse impact on surrounding lands, that the application minor in nature, consistent with the PPS, conforms to the OP, and maintains the general intent of the zoning bylaw. Thus, staff are in support of the application and recommend it be approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions for planning staff?
No, that was really good.
And is there any member of the public that wishes to speak regarding this application? If so, you can star 6-7 to unmute now. Okay, and
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I know this is Brad Fitch and Becky Fitch, the applicant. We're just standing by if there's any or other insight, but I think Scott handled it pretty well there. So, okay.
okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions for the applicants? Okay. So staff are recommending approval, and I need someone to move that recommendation.
Lisa?
Okay, I've got Lisa, seconder.
Adam?
I got Adam. In accordance with Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the development and requested relief is considered appropriate development, minor in nature, and maintains the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw, and public input was received and therefore has been considered as part of this application. All in favor of approval? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes?
Lisa?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, that application's been approved. Okay, the next application is file number BNPL 2020-128. The applicant is Scott and Amanda Forbes, and that's for severance. And I will ask staff to give their report.
Thank you. An application has been received to sever a dwelling made surplus through farm consolidation. The proposed lot will have a frontage of approximately 55 meters and a lot area of 3,654 square meters. The retained lot will have a frontage of approximately 260 meters and a lot area of 29.13 hectares. The subject lands are zoned agricultural and front on to the southeast side of Charlottesville East Quarterline Road in the geographical township of Charlottesville. The retained lot is a corner lot in nature with frontage onto both Charlottesville East Quarterline Road and St. John's Road West. The retained lot has an approximate area of 29.1 hectares. Severed lot contains a single detached dwelling. The retained lot has a concentration of structures surrounding the severed. The structures are existing, which is a dry barn, 2 accessory storage structures for agricultural purposes, and 2 solar panels. Comments have been consolidated in the staff report and no concerns were raised. Therefore, it's staff's opinion that the subject application is consistent with the PPS, conforms to the Norfolk's surplus farm severance policies of the official plan, complies with Norfolk's zoning bylaw for suitable lot creation within the agricultural zone, and meets the test for surplus farm severance. Staff supports this application and recommend it be approved, subject to the attached conditions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, does the committee have any questions for planning staff? Okay, are there any members of the public that wish to speak regarding this application? Okay, and we have a recommendation for approval. Could I have someone move that recommendation?
Alan?
Rudy.
Okay, thank you, Rudy. And a seconder?
Alan?
Alan, thank you. Okay, the subject application is consistent with related policies of the Provincial Policy Statement 2020 and the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding surplus farm dwelling severances, and no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor? Adam?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes?
Lisa?
Yes.
Marcel?
Yes.
And Rudy?
Yes.
Okay, that application has been approved. And that completes our applications. I just want to know if there's any other business that the committee has. Okay, we have no other business, so I have.
Madam Chair,
Oh.
Madam Chair, it's Rudy.
Yep.
Just a question on protocol. I know we had, I think, about 3 applications tonight for a severance with the variance to follow in the following month. Is this a new format, or is this just the way it's happened this month for these 3 applications?
Okay, I'm going to ask planning staff to answer that question.
Thanks, Madam Chair. That would not be our preference, and going forward, we hope to have them together for your review. It just kind of, I think, with new staff, including myself, getting on board, as well as just kind of catching up with the COVID applications and getting everything organized. They weren't all able to make it through the process for one meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if there's no other business, it's now 6:03 and I have a motion to adjourn. So could I have someone move that?
Alan moves that?
Alan, seconder.
Lisa?
Okay, Lisa. So be it resolved that this committee does now adjourn to meet again at the next regular session to be held Wednesday, September 16th, 2020. And while we have you all here, I'm just going to check with Sherry with regards to the next meeting. Apparently, the state of emergency has been lifted as of July 24th. So Sherry will be checking with the clerk's department and the director to see if we will be meeting as a committee in chambers in September. So she'll get back to us on that. And that's all I have. So our meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.